Hello and welcome to today's webinar on evaluation in Brightspace. This is part 3 of our assessment mini-series, and we're really excited to have you join us today. A couple of things to note: the Zoom Q&A box is open for any questions you may have throughout today's session. A recording of this session and slide deck will be posted in the Brightspace community once we are finished, and we'll also post any of the questions and answers that we've received with links to additional resources that might be helpful. So let's get started with today's agenda. We'll start with some quick introductions, and from there we'll discuss some tools in Brightspace that you can use to evaluate learners. I will show you how to use some of these tools and walk through a demonstration, and then we'll have time for some questions and Q&A. So a little bit about us. My name is Renata, and I'm an adoption specialist here at D2L, and I have my colleagues Victoria and Samantha here to support with answering questions that you have in the Q&A. I'd like to take a moment to clarify some terms. So you might have heard of D2L or Brightspace before. To clarify, D2L is the company, Brightspace is our product learning management system, and depending on where you work, your institution may call Brightspace by a different name. In addition, our Brightspace community is a hub of resources where you can connect with other Brightspace users and seek out additional information on Brightspace, and we'll put that link in the chat for you to join our higher education faculty group. So now that we've told you a little bit about us, we'd love to learn more about you. So we will be launching a poll, and we just have a few questions that will help us better understand you and how you might be using Brightspace. So the first question is wondering about your course. Are you teaching a blended course, virtual or in person? Second question is about what evaluation tools are you using in Brightspace? So looking at grades, mastery view of the gradebook, rubrics, class progress, and wondering if you're currently using outcomes or standards in your course. We're going to explore these a little bit today, so wondering who is already using them. So just in terms of the results, just quickly, we have I would say 50% is virtual, then we've got about 30% blended, and fewer than that in-person teaching. In terms of evaluation tools, we have a lot of folks that are familiar with grades, which is great, and rubrics, as well as class progress, and then a few are already familiar with mastery view, so excited to explore that today. And then looks like majority of you are not using outcomes or standards yet, so excited to share a little bit more about that with you. So thank you so much for participating in that poll for us. That was super helpful. All right, so here are some of the tools that you can use for evaluating learners, providing feedback, and monitoring progress in Brightspace. So in part 2 of the mini-series, we explored the first 3 of these tools here. And to help you learn how you can provide feedback to learners from assignments, discussions, and quizzes, our main evaluation tools. And in our third and final session of our assessment series, we'll be looking at the following key tools. So rubrics, we're going to look at gradebook and mastery view of the gradebook, and then a quick view of the class progress tool. So again, just an overview of the different tools that we will be discussing today. And we will kick things off with rubrics. So rubrics are a super useful tool in Brightspace that allows instructors to provide efficient and timely feedback and meaningful feedback to learners. And what I really think is important about them is that it provides consistency to learners to inform them of the expectations for a particular assessment. Rubrics can be tied to assignments, quizzes, and discussions, and give instructors the opportunity to really provide that framework to learners on those expectations. So as you can see on the right in the little video, we have a points-based rubric, and you can see that it will automatically tally up a score for you when you click on the rubric, and this score will automatically link to the grades tool if you have an associated grade item to your assessment, which is really handy. Rubrics can be created at the course level and easily shared with your colleagues. They can also be created at the organizational level and then shared down, which is great for consistency. For example, if you wanted to use the same rubric for learners in a certain department. And finally, rubrics are super customizable, so there's different types of rubrics and different settings that you can control within your rubric. So let's take a look now. We're going to do a quick overview of the tool, show you how to create and edit a rubric, and then how to actually attach that rubric to an assessment. In this case, we're going to attach it to an assignment, and then actually how to assess it. So let's dive into our environment. So here I am in my Business 101 course. I am the instructor, Regina Davis here, and I am in my rubrics tool. So if you're not sure how to get to the rubrics tool, you can go to your course admin. So I'll show you that here, and then you can find rubrics under assessment. So here I am, a quick overview. You can see the rubrics that are here visible in my course already created. And so here we've got the names of the rubrics. We can add a description. So as you start to build lots of rubrics, this is a handy thing to do to provide you with a quick overview of what that rubric consists of. And then the type. So there's two different types of rubrics. We're going to look at both of them, analytic and holistic. The scoring method. So there's a couple of different ways that the rubric can be graded. It can be no score, it can be points or custom points. And then finally, the status. So there's some different status options. So draft means that that rubric is still being created or in progress, and then published means that that rubric is actually visible to the learners in your course. You might notice beside these two rubrics, we have a lock beside them. This just shows that the rubrics have been used to assess learners' work already. So you can only edit the text fields within it if you needed to. So it's more limited on what edits you can make to the rubric just because it's already been evaluated against. So let's take a look at an analytic rubric. So let's take a look at this financing a business rubric here. I'm just going to go to the drop down and click preview. This is really handy. It will show you how this rubric appears to the learners. So this is a points-based rubric. We know that because we can see the points here at the top. So each rubric level has the same score for each criterion. If you want, you can also choose to have no score or custom points, which is what we'll look at in the next example. So the levels of achievement are going to show up display in the column. So we've got excellent, good, satisfactory, needs improvement in this situation. And that assessment criteria displays in the rows here. And you might also notice these little icons here. This means that outcomes or standards have been attached to this particular criterion in the rubric, and we're going to explore what those outcomes or standards can be. Just wanted to call that out in case you were wondering. And if we scroll to the bottom here, we can see that overall score, which is automatically populated here. I just want to show you an example of a holistic rubric. So let's just take a look quickly at this in-class group work one. If I click preview again, we can see a holistic rubric only has that one dimension. So you're just evaluating the learner on a single criterion here. So a little bit more of a simpler rubric. I also do want to call out that you can print rubrics as well. So there's that print option here for you as well. So in order to create a new rubric, you can click on this new rubric option here and start creating a rubric. I do want to actually just go in and show you how you can edit one that's already existing. So this assignment proposal rubric here, I've already started it. You can see that it's in draft status. So I'm just going to hit the drop down and click on edit and go through this together. So this is what you would see when you go to create your rubric. We can see that we have an analytic rubric here, and we have created a custom points rubric. So we saw in the example before, the other rubric that we just looked at had 4, 3, 2, 1. I've got that as my first settings, but as you can see, if I scroll down with the custom points option, you can actually specifically state how many points you want for each one. So I've decided that this rationale for choosing topic, I want that to be worth more. So I've set some specific points here to make it worth more than those other options. The next thing I want to show you here, if we scroll up to the top with your rubric, you can see that I have 4 different levels here. But if you wanted to add an additional one, you can add a new level. And you can also add additional criterion at the bottom here. So if we scroll down, if you wanted to add another criterion, you can do that as well here. The next thing I want to point out is the actual ability to type within these, within the rubric, within the criterion. So when you click on the box here, we can actually make this larger, and you'll notice we have the full Brightspace editor here. So I'm able to add in some details about that criterion for my learner. And you'll notice that we've talked about these before. The insert stuff button is available here for you. So you can actually include any multimedia that you wanted to. If you wanted to add in a video note, you have the opportunity to do so. If you wanted to add in a link, to lead your students somewhere, you can do that as well. So you do have the option to use the full Brightspace editor here within your rubric, which makes it nice and interactive. I also want to call out this initial feedback area. So if we click on this again, you'll see again that we have the Brightspace editor. And this initial feedback is really handy because as soon as this rubric is evaluated and say, for example, they receive this level 3 here, they're going to receive this initial feedback right away, and the student can actually get that information. So in this situation here, I've actually used this quick link option. So what I would do is highlight and then use this insert quick link. And what I can do is actually link them to an external site if I wanted to, or I can actually link them to a course file. So if I wanted to direct my students to a specific area in the course to review, sorry, I meant to do content here. If I want to link them to a specific piece of content, I'm able to actually do that by selecting it here. And then my students can actually link straight to that piece of content if I wanted to lead them there. So a really handy opportunity to provide that immediate feedback to the learners right away. In this example, for the annotated bibliography, I've provided them with an article to learn how to actually complete that if they didn't receive a level 4 in that criteria. If I scroll down a bit, I have some additional options here at the bottom, which I just want to run through quickly. So we have this rubric visibility option. You can decide if you want that rubric to be visible to students. I'm going to select that. They will be able to see the rubric whenever it is used in this case. If you decide that you want the rubric hidden from students, the learners won't see the rubric or the rubric feedback. But if you do select this include rubric feedback and overall feedback, that means that the learner can see any feedback provided on the rubric as part of the criterion level feedback for the activity under the overall feedback heading in the assignment and in the grades tool. And then finally, you can decide if you want the rubric to be hidden from students until the feedback is published. I'm just going to select this first one here. We're going to leave this learning outcomes to automatically map achievement levels to percentage scores. And then in this case for score visibility, this just means that if you did want to hide the scores from students, that means if you have a points-based rubric, the students won't be able to see the points they received for each criterion. So that's an option if you don't want them to see. This is the where you would add the description for your personal reference. This won't be seen by students, but just simply for your viewing. And we're going to leave that advanced availability at the bottom and just scroll back up to the top. And there's one more thing I wanted to show you. At the top, we have this, as we make changes here in our rubric, this is going to be automatically saved for us, which is really, really nice. So it's going to save as we go along and make edits. And I'm actually going to change this to a published state now because I'm all done with it and I'm ready to actually add it to an assessment. So I'm going to click close. And now I can see that it was once in draft state and now it is published. So now that we're done creating our rubric, let's look how we can actually add it to an assessment. So I'm going to go into my assignments tool. And I'm going to find that assignment proposal assignment, and I'm going to edit it. And under my evaluation and feedback options is where I'm going to have the ability to add in a rubric. And in this case, I've already created it, so I'm going to click on Add Existing. It's going to pull up all the rubrics that are in published state in my course that I can choose from. So I'm going to select this assignment proposal. I can see it here. I can see a quick preview of what that's going to look like. And I'm going to select Save and Close. All right, so now that that rubric is actually added to my assignment, I actually have a couple of learners that have already submitted this assignment proposal. So now I can click on View Submissions and show you what it looks like to actually evaluate that learner. So if I click on Go to Evaluation, I can actually see that proposal. If I open this up, I can see Faith's submission, but we're just going to focus on this rubric here. So if I open that up here, I can see the different criterion, and when I hover over it, I can see those descriptors here. So I can go ahead and assess Faith on this assignment proposal, and again, you'll notice that that feedback that we added for the annotated bibliography, that's going to show up right here for me. So I can see that Faith is going to get that feedback right away, which is really nice. So as I'm selecting it, you'll notice that that total score is actually automatically adding up for me. And then that overall score has also populated here as well. The overall grade has also been populated here based on my rubric, which is really handy as well. So if I wanted to actually publish that so that Faith can see it, I can click Publish. And if I wasn't ready to publish that to Faith and I just wanted to save it, I could click on Save Draft. And I just want to note here at the bottom here, we're going to talk a little bit more afterwards about the outcomes, but I had outcomes actually linked in my rubric. And so it's provided me with a suggested level of that outcome based on how I assessed her in this rubric. So just wanted to call that out. I am going to publish this because I do want to show you what it looks like from Faith's side at the end when we take a look at the learner perspective. All right, so the evaluation is published. I can go back to submissions and I can see here that I have published that evaluation to Faith for her assignment proposal. All right, we are going to move on to our next topic. I do want to pause for a moment to see if there are any questions that I can address about rubrics before moving forward.
Hi, Renata. There was a question about the holistic rubric. Were you able to show a holistic rubric before we move on?
Yes, I can go back. So I've got an example here of a holistic rubric. It's just for group work. So let's just preview that. So it's just a simple one criterion rubric. And if it is helpful, I'll just close that and just show you what that would look like if you were creating it from new. So if we click on new rubric, it is going to default to an analytic rubric, which is what we just looked at. But if you just select the type here, you can change to holistic. And this is what the default is. So this is where you would add in. It's going to automatically give you levels 4, 3, 2, 1. You can change this to whatever you'd like. And then here's where you would add in your criteria. So hopefully that's helpful for the holistic rubric. I'll just close. And I'm just going to delete that. All right, let's head back over here. All right, so the next tool we're going to talk about is the grades tool. So the grades tool is a really great tool. It provides a whole bunch of features to create and manage your gradebook. So it's a really great way to organize all your graded items and provide learners as well with insight into how they're doing in the course. So it's very centralized, so you can have one spot for creating your assessments, recording your feedback, and also viewing progress. It's very customizable, so you can set it up according to the needs of your class. Best practice is to plan your gradebook at the beginning of your course, but it can be adjusted throughout the semester, and new grade items can be added. It's really great for students. So students have visibility into how they're doing, so they can, at your discretion, view their grades, view that feedback to improve, and also see what items they still need to complete. The gradebook also integrates with other tools, so it synchronizes with assignments, quizzes, discussions, in that when you record marks in these tools, it will also feed to the gradebook, which is really useful. And then the grades tool also offers statistics, providing insights into how your class is doing with regards to a particular assessment. So we're going to take a look. I'm going to walk you through and just a quick overview of the gradebook, and then we're going to walk through the grade setup wizard to show you how you can set up your gradebook if you have not done that already. So I'm going to go to grades. It's right in my nav bar here, but again, you can find all your tools if you go to the course admin option here at the top. You will also find grades there as well. So when I land on the grades tool, I'm defaulted here to this enter grades page. So you've got all your students' names on the left-hand side. And then the first thing I want to call out is this final grades column. So this final calculated grade is actually calculated by the gradebook. So this can't be adjusted without adjusting the grade item scores. But I do want to just scroll to the end here to show you this adjusted final grade here. So this gives instructors the flexibility to adjust the learner's grade before it gets released. So you can see that this is actually hidden right now. And this final calculated grade is just based on the grade items that have been assessed in the course so far. So just wanted to show you the difference kind of between that final and the final adjusted grade. So I'm going to scroll back over, and I just want to call out that we have, similar to how we can have categories in our assignments tool, for example, you can do the same thing with grades. So we've got a couple of categories in our gradebook here. Discussions is one of them. Weekly quizzes is another. And you might notice underneath these categories, we've got individual grade items underneath. So week 1 discussion, week 2 discussion, week 3 discussion. These are actually the individual grade items that represent the work that you're going to evaluate your learners on. If we notice here, Faith, I'm going to scroll here to Faith and then look over here at this week 2 discussion. You might notice that orange dot. That means that there's an unread submission here. So if you actually click on it, that's going to lead you straight to the assessment where you can actually start evaluating her on that specific topic, which is really handy. And this subtotal here, that's showing the weight of this category within the overall grade. So the weight of this discussions category is actually holding 40% here as well. When we look at that weekly quizzes, this is another one of our categories in our grade book. Again, we've got different grade items within this weekly quizzes category. And if we click on a quiz here, if we click on this question mark, we can actually view details about that quiz. So in this case, I can actually go to the attempt and I can see Faith's, all of her results from her quiz straight from clicking on this from the grade book, which is really handy. So I can see our attempt grade and the details here on the right as well. I'm just going to go back here. Here we have an assignment proposal. So this is the grade item that we just looked at. We just added that rubric to the specific assignment. So this is a standalone grade item. It's not in a category by any means. But what we can see here is the mark for the how we graded Faith. So this is how she did on this this assignment. And what I want to show you is something handy that you can do. So if you click on the drop down beside a grade item, you can click on Enter Grades. And this actually gives me a dedicated page for the specific assignment. And I can actually easily just enter grades here and provide private feedback for each student if I wanted to. So this is really handy for an in-person assignment, for example, where there isn't an online submission. And something else neat that you can do is actually select multiple students if you wanted to and add feedback. If you had the same feedback that you wanted to provide to learners, you could do that. Again, you have the Brightspace editor, so you have lots of options for what you can add here. In terms of feedback, and then click on save, and you can see that that feedback has been added here. So a nice way to provide feedback quickly to your learners. Something else that I want to show you is if you make this bigger here, this show details and overall feedback, you can actually provide overall feedback to all your learners at once. So if you had, some general feedback that you wanted to give to the whole class, you could do that here. Again, you have the whole Brightspace editor to work with as well. If you wanted to add in a video note, for example, you could go into the insert stuff and add in a video note and share a piece of feedback with all your learners if you wanted to, and provide that to everybody. So I find that a really handy tool as well to use. All right, a couple of more things from the grades page here. We have a couple of more actions here. You can choose to actually hide or show columns. So if you wanted to not see some columns, you have some flexibility to do that as well. Right now I have everything showing, but that is an option. And then you can also view an event log, which shows, which is also handy if you have multiple instructors in a course. You can see who has been assessing or working with different items within the gradebook, which is a handy tool. I want to switch over to the spreadsheet view. So this view just allows you to enter quickly kind of enter grades for multiple items at once. Again, this is handy for in-person assignments or presentations. For example, if you had this oral presentation, you could just easily add in these marks here if you wanted to. So just another thing that you're able to do within that spreadsheet view. I'm just going to switch back to the standards view. And I just want to go over to the manage grades area. So this is where you can kind of see an overview of the organization of your gradebook. So again, we can see those categories. We looked at the discussions category, the weekly quizzes category. We also have a final assignment category here. And we can see the type of grade item that is associated. So a numeric is a really popular one. That means it's out of a certain number of points, that specific grade item. And then over here, we can see the association. So this is what it is tied to, the specific assessment within Brightspace. So we've got these tied to the discussions tool, quizzes, assignments, and so on. We can see the number of points in our next column that shows us what the assessment is actually out of. When you have a weighted gradebook, which we do in this situation, that points actually doesn't have an effect on how much value that grade item holds out of the total grade calculation. And then finally, we have the weighting. So that's actually the weight of the category. And then underneath the weight that those specific grade items make up out of that category weight. So you can decide, for example, if you wanted, in this case, a discussions category, all these discussions are weighted equally here, as we can see. So they're all worth the same amount. And that's up to your discretion if you'd like them to be weighted equally, or if you want to manually decide on how much they're worth. So just a quick overview of what we see here. I do want to move on to the setup wizard now. And the setup wizard is a really handy 7-step process that allows you to decide how you want to set up your gradebook. So we are going to walk through this together. This gradebook has already been set up. So we do have the settings that are showing here of the current settings of the gradebook. But you can always go through this again, even if you have set up your gradebook, and kind of walk through it with us to see if you've set it up in the way that you'd like it to. So can I click start and just walk through each of these? So the first option is to choose your grading system. So we've selected a weighted grading system. So this is a commonly chosen option for higher ed that calculates grade items as a percentage of the final grade worth 100%. So we're going to leave this as a weighted grade item. A weighted grade book. This next option is the final grade released. So it asks you to consider 2 things. So first, it's asking if you want to show learners their final grade as the course is going on, or if you want to wait to the end. And secondly, if you do want to release that final grade, which grade do you want them to see? Do you want them to see the calculated final grade or the adjusted final grade? So we recommend to select the adjusted final grade. That allows instructors the space to really use their professional judgment before releasing a grade item to learners. Like we talked about before, that calculated final grade cannot be adjusted without editing the actual grade item scores there. And then automatically release final grade. So turning this on is going to cause Brightspace to pay attention to when that final grade, whichever is selected, is saved, and then automatically release it when that happens. So I'm going to leave this unchecked so that all my grades can be released at a set time. For example, if I want to release them all at the end of a semester, for example. So I'm just going to leave that as is and continue on. Step 3, grade calculation. So this has to do with how to treat grade items that have not been graded yet. So do you want to include them or do you want to drop them? So let me give you an example to help you decide which one would be most appropriate. So say your course is made up of 5 quizzes with each quiz worth 10 points. And if a student has just completed one quiz so far and received 10 out of 10 on that quiz, if you selected drop ungraded items, the current grade's only going to be based on the items that have been graded. So in this case, just that one quiz the learner received 100% on, so their final grade would be 100%. If you choose treat ungraded items as 0, the learner would have 20% in this case because the system would put in values of 0 for the remaining 4 quizzes that have not been assessed yet. So technically they would have 10 points out of 50, making 20%. So with the treat ungraded items as 0, it's going to treat every grade item is treated as 0 until you actually have inputted a value in. So I'm going to leave it as drop ungraded items, but of course, please select the option that is most suited for your situation. And then automatically keep the final grade updated. I'm going to select this. So when this is turned on, the final grade will be released whenever it's updated. So this will happen at different times, and this depends on if you selected that calculated final grade or the adjusted final grade. If you choose the adjusted final grade, then it's just going to be released whenever you as the instructor go in and manually update it. So step 4 is about your grade scheme. So the grade scheme is how you want the grade to be displayed. The grade scheme allows you to organize the learner's performance on grade items into levels of achievement. So this could be numeric, it could be letters, or it can be percentage. In this case, the default scheme is set to percentage. So I'm going to keep it as that. This is something that is set at your institution level, and then at the course level, you would select what that default grade scheme would be. So step 5, this is about the teacher view. So what do you want to see as the instructor? The default is 2. I'm going to keep it as 2, but of course you could change it to 1 or 0 if you didn't want to see those decimal places. This next step is about what the learner sees. So if you're using a weighted grading system, it's a good idea to show both the weighted grade, the grade scheme symbol, and the grade scheme color. And then, but of course, this is again up to your discretion of what you'd like the learner to see. If you don't want to see extra digits on the screen, you can change this again to 0 or 1, but I'll leave it as the default of 2. You can keep the default characters to 50. And then finally, this final grade calculation controls whether or not the learners will actually see a description of how their grade was calculated. So this is going to show up as a little calculator on the learner view next to their final grade. So if you do select this, they'll be able to click on that and get a description of how their grade is actually broken down. I'm going to leave that unchecked. And step 7 is just a summary of all of your choices. So you can go back and revise anything if you would like to, or you can click on finish. Again, you can go back and change these settings at any point during your course as well. So we have completed the grades setup wizard and done a little overview of the grades tool. Before we hop back to our next topic, I'm going to just pause again and see if there's any outstanding questions with regards to grades.
Hey Renata, there is a question about the color with the instructor view versus the student view. So the instructors get that nice colorful box, but someone in the Q&A is saying it looks different for students. Would you mind showing us the student view of this grade book?
Yes. Okay. So here is Faith, and this is what it looks like for her grades. So it should be consistent. If you've selected for the learner to see the grade scheme color, it should be consistent with what the instructor is seeing.
But it's the highlight as opposed to the full box.
Let's go back
Right,
here.
like the student view here, it's highlighted, just the numeric, as opposed to the
Right,
instructor view where the whole box is filled.
right. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Renata.
Hmm. All right, so moving on to a mastery view. So this is a really exciting topic. So in Brightspace, there is a second view of grades, which is called mastery view. And this shows students' individual and class progress against standards or outcomes. So the grades view and the mastery view are both intended to provide kind of different complementary information about learner assessment. And mastery view allows instructors to really see learners' overall level of achievement related to outcomes or standards being taught in a course. So allows them to see a quick snapshot of learner achievement and evidence-based data points to share with students and inform their practice. So in order to use mastery view of the gradebook, there's a couple of different components. So the gradebook mastery view provides a summary of the evaluation data collected by the outcomes tool. So there's a few features within outcomes tool that have an impact on the content that's displayed in mastery view. So the first is that administrators need to kind of define this achievement scale and set it as the default for the organization. And then in order to evaluate learners' achievements related to those learning outcomes, instructors will then select that achievement scale within the course offering. So to enable mastery view, you need to import or create those course level outcomes within the outcomes tool, and then you'll align those outcomes to either the rubric criterion rows, which is what we looked at in the rubric. You can align those outcomes to assignments, discussions, quiz questions, or even Brightspace portfolio evidence objects if you're using that tool. I'm going to actually hop right over into the environment to show you because we are running out of time. You'll see a couple of extra slides in this slide deck that might be useful for you to look at after, but I do want to just hop over here to show you it live. So we're on our grades page, and I'm just going to click over to this mastery view option on the side. So again, if you're not seeing this in your environment, there may just be some additional configuration that needs to be set up and we'll provide some additional documentation on that. So this will just help you understand what you can do with Mastery View. Before I show you this, I want to talk about where those outcomes or standards live in your course offering. So if you go to Course Admin, in our environment, this tool is set up to be called Learning Outcomes. You might see something different here. You might see standards, you might see expectations or competencies. So that's set using the config variable browser by your Brightspace administrator. So just wanted to let you know that you might see a different word here in our environment here. It's set up as Learning Outcomes. So just a quick overview. These are the outcomes that have been brought into this course here. So I've got communication skills and then specific outcomes underneath. In order to get these outcomes into your course offering, they can be imported from the Achievement Standards Network, or they can be imported from a program that's created at your institution or from a file as well. And then also there's the option to actually manually create them here as well. So I just wanted to show you this is where you would go to see what outcomes are actually in your course or where you would add them. And then to actually go to view grades and the mastery view of the gradebook, you'll go to the grades tool. So back to the grades tool and switching on to this mastery view here, let's do a little overview of what we can see here. So the mastery view displays the evaluated outcomes as the columns of the table. So here are all the outcomes, and we just kind of, you might have noticed some of these when we were just looking at that other page. And then we've got our learners here on the side, and then that overall achievement, suggested level of overall achievement underneath here. So for Faith, for example, this level 4 here is her suggested level of overall achievement for this specific outcome, CS2, convey ideas in writing. And you might notice when I hover over here, there's a little histogram display of the learner evaluations related to this outcome. So you can see how your students are doing with regards to this standard or outcome here. So I've got no one getting level 1 here, 20% receiving level 2, and so on and so forth. So when I look at this specific level of overall achievement for Faith, I want to just point out here this activity counter, this 3 out of 5 here. Let me just zoom in a little bit. So this 3 out of 5 is showing that there are only 3 out of 5 activities that have been assessed against this particular standard or outcome in the course so far. And then this little I symbol is just showing if that's been shared with the learner yet. It has not been, it's not published yet. If I wanted to publish this to my learners, I can do that in bulk by publishing all if I'd like to as well. And I can also retract if I wanted to stop showing those as well. You might notice that we have some white cells here. Those indicate any outcomes that have aligned assessment activities, but no evaluations have been completed yet. So as soon as those first evaluations are completed, that cell will display the suggested level of achievement based on those evaluation results. I also want to let you know that you have some options for manually overriding a suggested achievement level based on your professional judgment. So for example, Carlos, let me just click into this level 3 here. Once I click here, I can see all of the expected, the overall achievement level right now of Carlos, according to this outcome, is level 3. But if I felt, based on my professional judgment, that he deserved a level 4, I can actually click on level 4 here and save that as a draft, either for myself or publish that. I'll just save it as a draft for now, because I want to show you what that looks like. So if I go back to Mastery View, I can see, oh, let me go back here. I am going to actually have to publish that to show that it is going to have a little asterisk beside it to show that I've manually overridden that. And that's interesting. Okay, so once you've manually overwritten a level of achievement, there should be a little star that shows up beside that so that it shows, and that's going to show just to the instructor, not the learner in this case, that it's been manually overridden. Let's jump into Faith specifically. So let's just look at this a little bit in a little bit more detail. Once we click on the specific expectation or standard or outcome here, you can see the total amount of assessments that have contributed to this overall level of achievement. So this is really helpful. You can see the feedback here, any feedback that's been provided by the instructor. In this case, there was a video note provided here. So just a deeper dive into how that actual overall achievement was assessed here. All right, the last thing I want to show is a really useful tool called the class progress tool. So this allows the instructors to actually monitor progress for any and all of the users and the learners in your course. So you can find the class progress tool by going to the course admin, and you'll find class progress under learner management. And so at the top here, you'll see four different kind of performance indicators at the top. If you want, you can actually switch these out. So these, you have some options for what you'd actually like to have in here. So you can change these by going to settings. And say, for example, you didn't want to see login history, you could actually replace that and choose from some other options here. So this gives you a nice quick glance of how your learners are doing. So this is really, really handy. So I'll just leave those as is. But what I wanted to show you from here is actually to click into a specific learner. So let's look at Faith here. And here we're going to see lots of different information with regards to different tools within. For example, all of her grades that she's received. I can see that grade. I can see the feedback that was provided as well as the rubric as well. And I want to draw your attention towards this learning outcomes area. So this learning outcomes progress page is really handy. These are the outcomes that have been aligned to assessments that Faith has been working on. And if I dive into one of these outcomes, I can see a nice overview, and this looks similar to what we just looked at when we were looking at it in the master review page. But if we scroll down, again, we can see those trends and how Faith has been doing with regards to achieving that specific outcome. So again, we can see the different levels that she's received and the different feedback that she's received on that specific outcome, which is very handy. So I'll just go back to her. So that is the class progress tool, a really handy tool to use to keep track of how learners are doing. So I'm going to head back to our deck and a little bit more information about the outcomes tool, which you can take a look at after. We will share this deck with you. So just a quick review of the things that we covered today. We looked at rubric, setting up your gradebook, using outcomes for master review, and then looking at the class progress tool. So to wrap up, we did want to tell you about the Champions program and invite you to join it. Being a champion gives you the opportunity to receive points for attending webinars, submitting blog posts, and even giving us reviews online. So we'll put the link in the chat for you to sign up and become a champion. Again, the higher education faculty community group, we invite you to join this group to connect with other folks at other institutions that use Brightspace, so you can ask questions, post in discussions, and get ideas on new ways to use the platform. So you can also scan the QR code here to join the group or use the link in the chat. Our next session is all around course design best practice, so we invite you to join us on February 12th. For that session. And then we also have a number of sessions coming up after that. And you can use the link in the chat to register for those. So we really look forward to seeing you at these upcoming sessions. All right, so for our last 10 minutes together, we have a couple of discussion questions we'd love to hear from you on. So the first one around what evaluation tools have you found get the best response from your students? So would love to hear about what tools you're using and how they've been helpful. If you've learned about any new evaluation tools today, how can you use them, or how are you looking forward to using them? And finally, how has Brightspace impacted your evaluation processes as an instructor? So if you would like to share, please put your hand up and we can unmute you, or you can also put your thoughts into the chat.
Renata, there is a question in the chat about different options in the Mastery View dashboard. Would you mind going back to that quickly?
Yep. Okay. And let me just go and look at that question. Options for the dashboard. And maybe I'm not sure if we could use a little bit more insight into what options you're not seeing. I'm not.
Yes, an anonymous attendee in the Q&A. Perhaps they could raise their hand.
Oh, I see. Garen, it was for class progress. Okay, let's head over to class progress. And I see that you raised your hand. I don't know if you also want to come off mute, but let's head over to class progress. Thanks for clarifying. Okay, so we've got the four options here, and then if you did want to change these, you can go to settings, and
Yeah,
then
the
this
the
is
problem I have is that I don't have so we don't have login history last 30 days. We have system. I'm just wondering how limited are those? There's no way to extend the because you have login, we have the system access
okay.
rather
So
than
if you
that.
if you click on the drop down option,
Yeah.
can you click replace?
No, we don't have. I'm trying to say is we don't have the login. Is that login the same as system access? The issue is we don't have. There isn't an option for course login or course access. There's only system access, which doesn't include the course.
Correct.
There's two access records that are left kept. The course access is only available when you drill down into the individual student in class progress and you go to that left navigation menu. On there, there's a class course access and a system access. So your login history, that's system, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't, we have system. Ours is labeled differently. And so yours
Oh,
is login. So that's helpful. Thank you very much. We have what you have then.
oh, okay. Sorry, I just want to clarify.
No,
So
there
there,
you do have that. So we don't have, how did you get to this additional list?
so the additional list comes from just choosing one of them and then clicking replace.
Yeah,
And then you can, oh, so you don't
we
have the
don't
option
have
to
that.
replace.
No, so are these, we do have an option to replace, but my list, the select progress indicator list you're looking at right there, the
Yep,
pop-up window, my list only has four items. It doesn't have all the items you have. So I'm wondering, is that list somehow controlled by a config variable?
that's a really, really good question and something that we can look into for you.
Well, I'm meeting
And
with my TAM. I'm meeting with my TAM later today. So this was very, very helpful. I'm really glad you brought this up because for anybody not using Class Progress, this tool, I really highly recommend it. Training faculty and getting them familiar. I'm a designer at the university. Training them to use this has really improved the engagement and the student response of having an instructor that's attentive and can help them where they're struggling. So I'm going to go off mute. I just want to thank you. This was very helpful.
oh, thanks, Garen. Glad it was. And thanks for sharing that about how your options look different. That's great insight for us. Oh, I see Daniel has his hand up.
Yes, on the content completion summary, there's one note that I'd like to share is um, if students are given the ability to do the downloads of content, that if it doesn't mark the student as completed in the content that gets downloaded, so they can be learning content via the download feature as opposed to the completion in content. So the percentages can be different from what they actually, because we get some instructors here saying, well, they never they never completed any of the content, yet they seem to know everything. Well,
Oh,
usually it's because they downloaded the content and the flags don't get set when you do the downloads.
okay. Thank you. That's really, that's very insightful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes, not a problem.
All right. If there are no more questions, I'm going to head back to the deck here, and we do want to give you a couple of minutes to complete this survey. We really, really appreciate if you could share your feedback with us. It helps us to improve these workshops for future sessions and really help meet your needs. So there will be a link in the chat, or you can use this QR code on the screen, and we'd love if you could spend the last couple minutes working on that for us. We'd really appreciate it. And we also welcome any other questions or thoughts during this time as well.
Yeah, just one last point on the surveys. If D2L could add in a sixth option, satisfied, it would be very nice.
Okay, thank you.
We'll take
Oh,
that into account. Thank you.
all right. Well, we are in the final minute here, so just wanted to thank you again. We really appreciate your time, and we hope to see you next month. So have a great rest of your day.